because their expectations are different. One interesting fact, 45% or close to 45% of the Indian population was born between 1981 to 2012. That is phenomenal because that's what constitutes the Gen Y and the Gen Zs, as you would know it. And that's a phenomenal percentage. These are essentially the customers of today and tomorrow. These are the customers who would probably rule the roost today as well as tomorrow. People generally call them digital natives because they were born with digital devices in their hands, right? As opposed to digital immigrants who gotten used to using a digital device as they went along. And for that reason, I don't call them digital natives, I call them accessibility natives. Simple reason is they want access now, they want access at this point of time, they want the look, they want the content, they want it as we speak, right? And that's fundamentally changing the way these customers look at banking. That's fundamentally changing the banking models itself. So if you look at it, banking models traditionally have been on the left side of the spectrum. And when I say it's been on the left side, banks have traditionally been pipeline companies, right? Producing an output, the output being a loan, output being a credit card, and an output being CASA, for example, right? That's fundamentally changing. We are seeing increasingly banks are shifting towards the right side of the spectrum, and that's because they are increasingly becoming value aggregators, access facilitators, trusted advisors. And if you look at it, the extreme right side of the spectrum is where the multi-sided platforms play. That's where the Googles of the world is, the Apple of the world is. If you've followed the Apple news, I think 2 days ago, Apple came out with a strategy to go hard on the BNPL market, where essentially on the device itself, I could break up my payments into multiple buckets as well. Now, obviously, the banks are not lagging behind. Increasingly, we are seeing interesting collaboration happening with fintechs, and banks are increasingly moving from what was traditionally output to an outcome model on the right side. And there are a few fundamental factors which are driving this, right? There's obviously the open banking rails. Open banking was obviously started with the concept of exposing accounts into the open banking world and making payments frictionless. Obviously, with the India stack, you have the entire account aggregation framework that's really contributing to it. Open banking is now extending into the context of open finance, where it is going beyond the remit of accounts. It's going to all financial services, lending to a model of banking as a service. The Open framework, I think some of us heard of it yesterday, is definitely India's step towards open finance, democratizing the availability of credit across SMEs, MSMEs, and a range of institutions thereof. And the final step in the journey is the true democratization of data. Imagine a world where data is democratized, companies across industries could access customers through APIs, through common platforms, and deliver financial services embedded within a platform. That's happening. I mean, we have the likes of food delivery companies like Swiggy already doing that today, but if it gets industrialized, the amount of disruption that it will lead to is enormous. Some counts put at the global numbers at $416 billion being disintermediated from banking, or a revenue uplift kind of going to place which is the channel owner. And the channel owner are telcos, the channel owner are utility companies, right, which are owning the relationship rather than the banks. And that's where we are increasingly seeing banks wanting to move to that value aggregator kind of a role. Now, there are other additional elements which are changing banking as we speak. The amount of data that is now available today is enormous. The volume and velocity is humongous. India, in a real-time payments context, of the total real-time payments across the world, India contributes to 40% of real-time payments. And when I say real-time payments, it's UPI, and that's enormous. That speaks volume of our payment infrastructure. What is also interesting is the fact that there is obviously the regulatory push happening, the digital banking units creating a flutter, as well as the enormous amount of fintechs and the growth in fintechs that we have. Today, as we speak, we have 16 fintech unicorns. That's really disrupting banking as we speak and creating revenue models which were not known before as well. Where will banking go? It's anyone's guess, right? There are technologies being adopted. There's the entire evolution of the Web 3.0 technologies. There are use cases which are getting evolved on blockchain, early days still. We have interesting banks which are building stadiums on metaverse. I do not really know where this is going, but you have an HSBC stadium out there on the metaverse, and there are interesting use cases. These are all early days, right? The promise of blockchain is amazing. It promises to decentralize what was a centralized ledger. The promise of asset tokenization, where the huge property could be tokenized into smaller values, is amazing. But it's all to be seen whether there are tangible use cases of this, and it will be an interesting decade to really watch out for. But one thing is for sure, the bank of tomorrow is a different place. It's frictionless, it is ubiquitous, and it is definitely invisible, right? So there are a couple of elements that come to question. Are we ready? Are we there yet? So there are key elements here. Number one, are the banks ecosystem ready, ecosystem first, right? Are you ready for the platform? Are the banks customer-centric? Are the banks frictionless? Is there any drop in journey? I mean, does a lending application comes in on a channel, drops into a CRM, somebody manually plucks it out of the thin air and pushes it into the core? Are the banks inclusive, right? Inclusivity is all about creating experiences which are not just great, but inclusive to a persona, inclusive to a particular segment as well. Agile, are you agile enough to change quickly? And finally, are you built for scale, right? We have spoken to several banks. The answers to all of this is not necessarily yes. There are still issues, there are still pending teething problems and challenges. Some banks are ahead of the rest, some banks are lagging, right? Typical pain points that we see, right? And these are typical, not universal for every bank. Starting with the fact, hey, I don't have APIs. I mean, I do not know what to expose. I do not have what is called REST APIs. They're not lightweight, they're heavy. I'm not able to expose. My channel's not able to take the volume. My experience is siloed, right? And that's still true. The mobile experiences are different to the rest. Some banks even have 2 different logins. It's not contextual. I can't carry journey from one channel to the other. The journeys are sometimes broken, and this is specifically true when we speak of digital lending. It's almost a drop in the floor for some banks, right? The banker is sometimes not given enough weightage. Today, the banker is also a customer, and he expects a mobile experience which is great for the bank that he is banking on. Why is his experience still stuck in a very transactional mode? Why is it not intelligent enough, right? So that's, and if it's not intelligent, he's not able to advise his customers as well in that manner. I'm not able to scale, right? So that's an interesting concept I come in with, because if I have to scale my whole huge box of it, and I'm not able to scale in pieces and chunks. I'm not able to scale for a use case. For example, payments, as a volume increases, but lending does not necessarily go up in the same rate. So I'm not able to scale at the same rate as well. So these are classic classic issues and challenges that we are seeing. And as I said, it's not universal. Some banks have done much, much better than the rest. Some banks are still struggling with some of these basic elements as well. So the way we see the bank of tomorrow is essentially something which, and this is an Oracle point of view, right? Essentially which consists of 4 key elements. An element of innovation, which is the experience right on top, enabling contextual, omni-channel, ecosystem-first experiences, right? The ability for you to play in the ecosystem, the ability for you to drive contextual, personalized experiences. A layer of intelligence, driving intelligent, predictive, personalized engagement with the customer, right? Driving, personalized, persona-centric engagement for the banker to advise the customer better. And a layer of efficiency and automation, which is your ledger layer, which has to be automated, which has to be streamlined, frictionless, right? There cannot be a friction in the ledger layer. And finally, a layer of data and data analytics, driving truly enterprise data back into the ecosystem, which then gives personalization to the hilt. And I think we have panels which spoke about use cases of AI driving on top of it and really creating compelling value for their customers as well. Now, the point is banks, as we speak, have been around for a long time. It is not possible just to turn a key and change overnight. There's always a starting point. Every bank goes through a different journey as they digitize into the future. And the whole idea is to go to really a plug and play kind of a model, which allows you to kind of pick and choose the area that you want to automate and change as well. So the starting points could be multiple, and we have seen different starting points. Some banks have gone to the path, hey, let me change my experiences for a specific segment of customers. Let me just digitize front to back for a specific segment of the customers and plow that into the entire bank. Let me probably take a market offer. Let me take lending, for example, digitize lending first, and take that experiences back into my ecosystem. Or let me just look at the experiences that I offer, and let me try to make it contextual, persona-centric, and really go on an experience-led model. Or maybe solve the data issue, which is the analytics or the insight-led. Let me get the data right. Let me get the plumbing for the data right. Let me get the use cases or evolve the use cases as we go along as well. So there's no one starting point. We've seen different banks kind of go, obviously, different starting paths depending upon their current state, depending upon where they are in their journey. And it works for it, and it's yielding rewards as well. So that was a very quick presentation to make up for the time. That's it from my side. Thanks once again. Happy to connect as we speak as well more.
Thank you so much, Easwar. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Easwar Subramanian, Banking Solutions Director from Oracle. Now, I would like to call on stage Mr. S. Saravanan, DGM and Head IT from Karur Vysya Bank, to kindly do the honors of felicitating Easwar. Thank you, Saravanan-ji. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Easwar Subramanian, Banking Solution Director, Oracle, on Blueprint for the Bank of Tomorrow. Thank you so much, Easwar, for that wonderful presentation, and thank you so much, Saravanan-ji, for doing the honors.